In this video, I'm going to talk about some Boolean logical operator. So first operator in that concept is unary operator, which we represent by using this not symbol. So this is the symbol that we have used in the previous video where we were using this not equal to symbol. But in this video, I'm going to talk about only about this not symbol, right? So this not is basically used to convert the true value to false or the false value to the true. So basically we can say that it works as a kind of toggle value. So let's try it with an example. Let's assume that here I'm having this boolean value and boolean a is equals to true. And if I want to change this value to false, then there are two things. Either I can use a equal to false, or I can also use a is equals to not a. That's it. And if I will display the value of a this time in this console screen, then let's see what will be the output. The output in this case would be false, because this is something that has converted this true to false. On the other hand side, if the value is false, then this not will convert it to the true. You can see we are getting the true value over here. Similarly, you can also use this concept directly over here. So for example, if I'm typing true, there is no use of these two lines. Either you can keep it or you can comment them. Let's comment for the simplicity. So I'm having only this one single line. If this time I will run this application, then you can see what we are doing. We are basically using this not and we are using this true. So it means not true, which is false. Let's run this application and we are getting this false value over here. The real use of these operators you will learn in some upcoming videos. As of now, we are learning only about the basic concepts. We are not building something. When we will build something, then you will see that all these concepts that we are learning in few previous videos and in upcoming videos, all of them will be used in that one single application, right? So just focus only on the concepts, and once the concept is clear, then definitely you can build or you can make anything. Now let's talk about our second operator. The second operator is called as logical AND, and this logical AND is represented by using AND symbol. Only this one single AND, and it is available on the key of 7. This logical AND is basically used to work with the two things. So over here I'm going to create something which we have not covered so far in this course. I'm going to create two more methods. A method is something that we have only used so far. For example, that convert.toString and int.parse. These were some built-in methods. Now here for the first time I'm going to create two custom methods. And remember, this is also a method in this CSharp programming language. This is the name of this method, and these are something that we are passing as a parameter in this method. So I'm going to use this same structure. Let's just copy these 3 lines and paste it over here. Okay, here I'm going to create some custom name. For example, this is first method, and this time I will not pass anything in this parameter. Why I'm doing this? This is required to learn this concept better. Okay, and here I'm going to display some message console.writeLine, and let's use. And if I want to return some value from this method, then we have to replace this particular part. If I'm using this keyword which is void, it means I am not returning anything. If I'm using something else, for example boolean over here, it means I have to return something. And you can see we are getting some error. It is saying that not all code path returns a value. It means this method is not returning anything, and that is why we are getting this error. So here let's return the value which is true. Let's get one more method, and this is going to be second method. If you are thinking that the concept of method is too complex, just assume that we have written two pieces of code and we have written it as a separate way. If I want to use them in my main method, because this is the entry point of this particular application, whenever we will run this application, then it will start the execution only from this main method, right? So let's just comment them, and just to use them, I can simply use this first method like this. Now what we are doing, basically I can write this code here also, but I have moved that code from here to here, because if I want to use it multiple times, then I can simply use this name 2 times and I will get this output 2 times. So first let's start with the basic concept. So here I'm running this application. You can notice I'm getting this message hello from first method, and I think I have not updated the value in this one, so let's make it second. And if I want to use this second method also, then I will get the message from both of them. First I will get the value from this first method, and then later I will get the value from this second method. If I have created a couple of methods and I'm not using them in the reference of this main method, then there is no use of them. And over here also you can see that Visual Studio is telling us that this method has a reference, and this reference is in this first method. We got the pointer at this particular line. These are the facilities of this Visual Studio editor. Now let's talk about our logical AND operator. The logical AND operator is basically used to apply a logic on two operands, or basically two values, and if both of them will be true, then only we will execute something. For example, if both of these methods are returning true, then I want to execute something. Let's say I have this condition, and over here I want to write console.writeLine, and I want to find out whether both of them return true or not. Here I'm writing both are true. To apply this AND condition, here let's use this first method like this. To call the method we have to use this parenthesis, remember, and we can use this AND, and here I'm writing this second method. Let's comment these two things. So I have applied a condition over here. It is saying first method and second method. So what it will do, it will check both of them. It will check both the methods. If this method is returning true, again if this method is returning true, if the output of both these methods is true, which is true and true, then only we will get this particular line. Else if this condition is not true, then let's just copy this line, paste it again, both are not true. If any one of them is false, then we will get this false value. But the main concept is that both of them method will be executed, right? Let's run this application. See how it is working. When we are using this if condition, first it will check this first method, and in the first method we have written hello from first method, and this is the message that we are getting on this console screen, right? Again we are using this AND operator. It means this second method will also be used over here. I'm using this second method, and then whatever we have inside this second method, that will be executed. And in the second method I'm having this hello from second method, and here you can notice that we are getting this hello from second method. If both of them are true, true and true, and how do we know that both of them are true? Because we are returning true. The output of this first method and the output of the second method, both of them are true. True and true, it means we are getting this particular line. If any one of them is false, then we will get this output in the third line. Let's see this one as well. So this time, just to hack the code, here I'm using this false. Well, let's make the first one as the false, right? So basically I'm returning the false value from this first method. So ultimately what we are writing over here is, I'm writing if false and true, the output would be false in that case. Let's run this application. Hello from first method, hello from second method, both are not true. Just to make this concept very much simple, here I'm commenting this line, and I'm writing one more if condition over here like this. So just assume that these two things does not exist. So here I'm writing true and true. If both of them are true, then we are getting this output. Run this application. We can see both are true. If any one of them is false, then you can notice you will get the second output. And in this case, this Visual Studio is very much intelligent. It is saying that this code is not reachable, because this Visual Studio know at the compile time explicitly that this will return a false value, and in that case this code will never work. And that is why we are having this kind of disabled thing over here. Although there will not be any kind of error, but Visual Studio is telling you that there is some problem in your code, you can fix that, right? Let's run this application. You can notice we are getting the message both are not true. And to understand this concept better, I have used these two methods. So again, let's just comment this line and enable our previous one. Remember, we are talking about logical AND operator. There is one more operator in CSharp programming language which is called as conditional logical AND. The conditional logical AND is represented by using two AND symbols like this, AND. The basic use of both these methods is same, but there is a difference how they work. Remember, in the single AND operator, both these methods were getting executed. But in this case, what will happen, if the value of this first method is true, then it will move forward and it will execute the second method, right? True and true. If both of them are true, then we will get this condition. If by any chance the first method is false, which is false and true, and let's assume the output of the second method is true. So what we are having? False and true. Whenever we will get the output of this first method, and if it is false, then this operator will not execute the second method, because it know that ultimately the value will be false and there is no use of executing this second method. Even if it is true, still the output would be false, right? Let's understand this concept this time, and first I will start from that basic one, which is true. So just assume that both these methods are returning true values. So we are getting true and true. If the first value is true, then only it will execute this second one. Let's run this application. So you can see we are getting the message from both these methods. But by any chance, if the first one is not returning true, if it is returning false, then this operator will understand that the first value is false and there is no use of calculating the second one, because even if it is true, ultimately we have to go in the else condition. Let's run this application this time, and this time you will notice we will get only the message from this first method. The output of this first method was false, and that is why this program has not calculated the value of this second method. That is the main difference in between this single AND and the double AND, right? You can also use more than two methods over here. There is no restriction on them. So basically, if you are having one more method, for example, it is, let's say it is third, right? Here I'm writing this third, and if it is returning true, and here I'm writing this and third method. Run this application. You can see we are still only getting the output only from this first method, because the output of the first is false. That is why this operator is not calculating the value of next two methods. If let's make some more changes over here. Here I'm making this true, and this time I will return false from the second method. The output of the first method is true. First, this program will calculate this first method and it is true. It means the program is thinking that next method might also return true. But whenever we will execute the second method, then we will get the false value. And if any one of them is false, then ultimately the output will be false. So that is why you will notice that there will not be any kind of execution of this third method. Let's run this application. So we are getting the message from this first, we are getting the message from the second, and because the output of the second was false, that is why the third method was not executed. And if you will return true from here as well, so basically it is true, true and true, true, true and true. This time you will notice that all these three methods will be executed. See, we are getting the output from all the methods. Just like this logical AND, we also have logical OR. First, let's start the learning only with these two methods, or it is better not to use the methods directly. Let's use only true and false over here. So I'm using this if, and in this if I'm writing true. To work with the logical OR, we have to use only this single pipe, and this is available just above the enter key. The main difference in between AND and OR is that in the AND all the conditions must be true, but in the OR, if any one of them is true, then ultimately we will run this code. If any one of them is true, let's run this application. You can see we are getting both are true. Even if the second one is false, still the output will be true. See, both are true. And if the first one is also false, so if both of them are false, then only we will get the false output. Both are not true. If the second one is true, because one is true, it means it will output as true. See, now let's try this concept with the methods. So here I'm just gonna remove this line and let's just enable this concept, right? First, let's use only two methods. And to work with the OR, we have to use one single pipe like this. Again, the concept is same. If you are using the single one, then there will be execution of both these methods. Let's run it. Both the methods are returning true. We are getting the true over here, right? If I'm returning false over here from this first method, which is this one, false, so it means false or true. Ultimately we will get the true output, because if any one of them is true, then we will get the true output. And we are returning true from the second method, that is why we are getting this true over here, right? Similarly, you can also apply a couple of more logics over here. The main important concept is, if you are using this single OR over here, then this program will execute both these methods, just like we were having in the logical AND. If you want to work with the conditional logical OR, which is double pipe over here, then in that case again the concept is same, that if any one of them is true, then the output would be true. But this time, just like we were having in the conditional logical AND, if the first one is true, then we will not calculate the value of the second one, because if any one of them is true, then ultimately the output is going to be true. So there is no use of calculating the output of this second method. So if the first one is true, it doesn't matter if the second one is true or false, the output is going to be true. And that is the main difference in between this logical OR and the conditional logical OR. Let's run this application. This time you will notice, so I'm gonna just first return both the true value over here. Let's run it. You can notice we are getting this hello from first method, and this program is not calculating or executing the second method because it know that the output of the first method is true. So it doesn't matter the output of the second method, because ultimately it is going to be true, right? And when we were using the single pipe, then the program was calculating both these methods. Now what will happen if I'm returning false from the first method? This time you will notice that this program will execute the second method also. Why? Because if it is false, then it is assuming that maybe the second method will return the true value, and if any one of them is true, the condition will be true. Let's run it. So this is the output from the first one, and this is the output from the second one, and ultimately both of them are true. So we can update this message, but this is from the true condition. You can also use three methods also over here. So we can use this third method, right? Let's run it this time. You will notice we are getting the output only from two methods. Why? Because the output of this second method was true. That is why there is no need of calculating or executing this third method. We are simply getting true value from this method. This is how you can work with the logical and logical OR in your programming language. And to be honest, most of the time you will have to deal only with these double concepts, which is the conditional logical operators, conditional logical and conditional logical OR. I hope the concept is clear. These are the building blocks of any kind of application, and if you are having any doubt in these logics or in these conditions, then you will not be able to learn programming. Make sure to clear all these concepts. If you are having any kind of doubts, then ask me your questions. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.